How you doing, eh? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Pei Dalet, Daf 84 of Masechta BavaMetzia. Friends? Little friends. Wow. Okay. Oh my gosh. There's so much going on right now. Firstly, today's Daf is great. Story of Rabbi Yochanan, Rish Lakish. Very interesting. It got into about Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon. A lot of really, really interesting stuff. At the same time, it is also the last few minutes of Yom HaZikaron. We're a few minutes away from Shkia. I'm a little bit tired. I thought it was important that we have an episode of Babylon Talmud on Yom HaZikaron. If I get too tired, I'll just stop in the middle and pick up. I'll do the second half tomorrow. But hopefully I'll make it through. It's a God. It's not hard, but there's a lot. But anyways, yeah, Chevra, this Yom HaZikaron was not like any other Yom of Zikaron in my entire life. It's heavy this year, huh? Really heavy this year. Yeah, I mean, in the past on Yom HaZikaron, it's a heavy day. It's an intense day, but there isn't like that much material on it, like the big wars were in the past, but this year, oh my God, there's just so much. So, just so many, just go to YouTube, there's just so many stories and broken families and broken people, and it's heavy, man. It's really, really heavy. So that's why I thought it was important that we should have Babylon Talmud and Yom HaZikaron and remember all of the people who need to be remembered and gave their lives for the Yidden to be in Eretz Yisrael. So let's learn for their memory. Okay. We're going to start on Daf Pei Dalet. Masechta BavaMetzia. Okay, we're about 15-20 lines into the Amr and Daf Pei Dalet. Amr Rabbi Yochanan. You ready? It's gewaltige stuff, Chevra. This is awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And it's awesome that we can learn this for the memory of all the Chalalei Ma'arachot Yisrael v'Nifka'ei Terror. Amr Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan, Ana ishtari mishapire Yerushalayim. I am leftovers. I'm from the remnants of the beautiful ones of Jerusalem. I'm in Jerusalem, in the merit of the people who on their merit that I could live in Jerusalem. So it says Rabbi Yochanan that he was from the beautiful people of Jerusalem. If you want to see the beauty of Rabbi Yochanan, the radiance of Rabbi Yochanan, bring a silver cup that has come directly from the smith. And fill it with the seeds of a red pomegranate. And make like a crown of red roses on the opening, the mouth of the cup. And put it between the sun and the shade. And the reflection, the radiance that you will see is like that of Rabbi Yochanan. Is this really so that Rabbi Yochanan was so beautiful? But we said Shufrei de Rav Kahana mean Shufrei de Rababo, that the beauty of Rav Kahana is like the beauty of Rababo. Shufrei de Rababo mean Shufrei de Yaakov Avinu. And the beauty of Rababo was me'ain, I guess, from of a sort of thing of like Yaakov Avinu. Shufrei de Yaakov Avinu me'ain Shufrei de Adam Rishon. And the beauty, radiance of Yaakov Avinu was like that of Adam Rishon. Rabbi Yochanan is not on that list. There was Rav Kahana, Rav Abo, Yaakov Avinu, Adam Rishon. feel like we skipped a whole bunch. We go from Rav Kahana to Babo to Yaakov Avinu to Adam Arishin. But Rabbi Yochanan is not on that list. Shani Rabbi Yochanan just Rabbi Yochanan didn't have a beard. That's why he's not on the list. Rabbi Yochanan also Yosef Ashari Tefillah, as we know from Masech the Brachis, that Rabbi Yochanan would go and sit by the mikveh. Omar, and he said, Kisalkum b'nei Yisrael mitfilas mitzvah, that when the Jewish women are leaving the mikveh, Livku bi, let them encounter me, ki echi dilavulu b'nei shapir kavosi, so that their sons will be beautiful like me, gemira raisa kavosi, and learned in the Holy Torah like me. Amar the Rabbanon, the Mistafei Mar, Mein Abisha, the rabbi said to Rabbi Yochanan, are you not concerned that the evil eye is going to get you? Omar Lehu, he said to them, Onu mizar di Yosef Kasino, I come from the seed of Joseph, Lo shalto be ein abisha, that the evil eye has no power over Yosef Atzadik. The Chesiv, the Apostle says, Ben Poras Yosef, Ben Poras Ali Oyin, V'amavavo Atikri Ali Oyin Ela Oliyain, that Joseph is a charming son and a very charming to the eye. And it says, don't say Ali Oyin Ela Oli Oyin. He's above the evil eye. The evil eye has nothing on him. From this pasuk, that his offspring will be like fish. Just like fish in the sea, they are covered in water, and the eye can't see them. And also the seed of Joseph, the evil eye cannot see them, cannot have anything on them. One day Rabbi Yochanan was swimming in the the Jordan River. Rish Lakish, who at the time was not Rish Lakish, the great Amora, he was Rish Lakish, the great bandit, the great thief, and he jumps into the river. And Rabbi Yochanan says to Rish Lakish, wow, with that strength, you should use that strength for the study of the Holy Torah. What does Rashi say? Kama koicha chayofe, you're such a strong person, Lizbal ol Torah, to be able to bear the yoke of the Holy Torah. Omalei, Rish Lakish responds, Shufrach l'noshe, you are so beautiful that you should busy yourself with women. Omalei, to which Rabbi Yochanan responds, listen, if you do tshuva, I will give you in marriage my sister, who is even more beautiful than I. Kabilale. Rish Lakish says, deal. Now, once Rish Lakish, once he accepted upon himself the yoke of the Holy Torah, all of a sudden he was weak, because the Torah makes somebody weak, and we found it difficult to even just get out of the river to put back on his clothes. And then Rabbi Yochanan then taught Rish Lakish, Tanakh and Mishnayos, and Rish Lakish became the great Rish Lakish. One time Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish had a machlokes in the Beis HaMedrash. Hasayib v'asakin v'apigyon v'arimach u'magliyad u'maglukotzer, and it was a sugya from Kalim talking about a sword and a knife and a hunting spear and a war spear and a hand sickle and a harvesting sickle. At what point are they mekabel tumah as a vessel? Once their melacha, once their construction is complete. At what point are they considered complete? Rabbi Yochanan says, once they have been forged in the furnace. Rish Lakish Omer Mishayitzach Tzichon Bamoyim. Rish Lakish says from after you've made them, polished them off with water and really made them sparkle and ready to go. Amalei, Rabbi Yochanan says to Rish Lakish, Listoya Yusei Yoda. Look, a thief knows about things for thieving, like knives and swords and things. Amalei, Umaya, honestly, Rish Lakish got insulted, and he says, you know what? What do I need you for? Hasam Rebbe Karuli, Ochok Rebbe Karuli. Look, when I was a bandit, when I was a robber, they called me Rebbe. They called me a great robber. They called me Rebbe. Hocha Rebbe Karuli. And they call me the same thing over here. Now they also call me Rebbe. So what difference have you made? Oh my lay, Rabbi Yochanan says, Hanoi loch. But the difference that I made is that I benefited you. The akrovinoch tachas kanfe ashchino, because I brought you under the wings of the Holy Spirit. Cholash daite to Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Yochanan after that incident he felt insulted. Cholash Rish Lakish, and when Rabbi Yochanan gets insulted, so then we saw this with Rav Kahana at the end of Masechta Bava Kama, and in this case it was Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish got sick. Asoy achte kabachyo. So now Rabbi Yochanan's sister, who was Rish Lakish's wife, came to Rabbi Yochanan. She was crying. Amalei, she says to Rabbi Yochanan, Ase bishvil banai. Look, enough. Save Rish Lakish because of for my sons, that they should have a father. Oh my Lord, he says to her, Ozva yisoimecho ani achaye. Leave your orphans, I will give them life. He didn't seem fazed. Asa bishvil amanusi. Well, just intervene so that I shouldn't be a widow. Oh my Lord, and he says to her, "Va'amanosecha olai tivtochu," and your widows shall rely, shall depend on me, should believe in me. Okay, it seems that Rabbi Yochanan was not convinced to spare Rish Lakish, noch nafshe de Reb Shimon ben Lakish, and Rish Lakish died. And then Rabbi Yochanan was distraught. Omer Rabbanon, man lezel liasve ledaite. What do we do? Who should we bring as a chavrusa for Rabbi Yochanan, so that to sort of calm his head, that he should have a good chavrusa to learn with. Nezor Belazar ben Pedastim b'chad Shmaite. They said, well, let's bring Rabbi Belazar ben Pedas, and he'll be Rabbi Yochanan's chavrusa, and he'll have somebody to learn with. Also Yosef Kame, so Rabbi Belazar ben Pedas, meaning Rabbi Belazar, the great Rabbi Belazar the Amor. Rabbi Belazar then goes and he becomes Rabbi Yochanan's chavrusa. Kol milsa dava Amar Rabbi Yochanan, and everything that Rabbi Yochanan would say, Amar le Tani de Messiah loch. Rabbi Belazar would say, I have a brisa to support exactly what you're saying. Omar, Ad Kivar Likisha. And Rabbi Yochanan says, seriously, you are like Rish Lakish. You're the one who they sent me to take the place of Rish Lakish. Is this a joke? By Likisha, when it came to Rish Lakish, Ki Avo Amina Milsa, I would say Epis. Haba Makshali Esun Va'aibo Kashyosu Mafrik Nole Esun Va'aibo Peruka Mimele Rav Chashmaita. I would say Epis. And he would ask me 24 questions, and I would give 24 answers, and Mimele, the learning was clearer and better and of higher quality because of it. I would say Epis, he would ask me 24 questions, I would have to respond 24 answers, and like that the learning was much better than if he wouldn't have challenged me so much. And here you come and I say Epis, and you just say, oh yeah, you're right, and here's Taka Bryce that supports you. That's it? What, do I not know that I'm saying something that's relevant, that makes sense, that I'm saying something correct? You need to prove that I'm correct? Challenge me. Make me think. So Rabbi Yochanan would walk around with torn clothes, v'kabachi, and he would cry, v'amar, Heicha ad by the Kisha, Heicha ad by the Kisha. Where are you? Rish Lakish, where are you, Rish Lakish? Wow, it's so shaykh to Yom HaZikaron. Ba'avaka tzovach ad deshavdaite mine. Wow, and he was crying until he just kind of went crazy. And the rabbis prayed for him, and he died. I saw a documentary yesterday. There's like on YouTube now. There's just so many of these short documentaries about all these great people died way too young. And right, there was one documentary where it was from a long time ago, from 20 years ago. This young boy died while defending the Eden in Eretz Yisrael. And a few years later, his father just died of heartbreak. There's just so many documentaries, story after story after story. It wasn't like this in the past. These are all new, like, I don't know what to call them, documentaries, videos. But there's just tons of them. So many of them. You finish watching one, there's another one to watch. And each person, such special people. Okay, the shaila is, do I go weiter right now, or take a break? Let me think for a second. Alright, I'm back now. Now it's Yom HaAtzmaut, Independence Day. I think they have that flyover thing. Don't worry, I'm ready for it with my noise cancelling headphones. But if you hear a really loud noise, that's their air show. I haven't heard it yet, so I guess that means that it's in my future. It's in our future potentially. So I guess we'll see if that happens. So if you hear something really loud, sounds kind of like a power washer, but much louder. So then that's the air show. Enjoy. Okay, so now we're going to get back to Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. Givaldik. Now we're going to get back to Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. Now we're going to get back to Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. We're going to talk about Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon tomorrow as well. Okay, here we go. Afilu achi lo samach Reb Elazar Reb Shimon adaite. Right, this goes back to when Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon was the kind of in charge of punishing the thieves, and Yeshua ben Karcha got upset with him, and I think the people weren't very happy that this is what he was doing, and we're going to see also he had some issues in the community because of it. So anyways, right, so we had that whole thing where he sorry, I'm just like looking at the clock. Okay, okay. So we had that whole thing where this person called him a name, and then he got killed, and Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon felt bad about it, and then he did this whole thing. He burnt his fat, and whatever, proved that he was okay. But anyways, he still felt bad about it. So Kabbalah Yisure, so he accepted upon himself afflictions. And how did this work? So the interesting thing about these afflictions, that remember, this is Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon ben Yochai's son, Rabbi Elazar, who hid in the cave with him for all that time. I mean, this is it's Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. Anyways, so how did these Yisurin work? He kind of would turn, it seems like he would turn them on and off at will. So B'orta Maichele Shisin Namte, so now every night, and they would have to prepare for him and fold for him like 60 felt, cloths or something that they would put under him, and the Tzafra Nagde Mituse Shisin Meshichle, Dama V'cheva, and then they would in the morning it would be filled with like 60, containers worth of blood and pus. Yeah. The Machar Avdalei Devisu Shisin Mine Lifta, but then the next day his wife would make for him these 60 types of, fig stuff, V'achlu, and he would eat them, Uvari, and he would heal. And this would happen like every day. We're going to see in a second, he would basically invite these Yisurim on him every night. Then every day, and then every night, there would be this whole thing with the 60 felt cloths, and he would have to eat this special fig thing, and then it would go away during the day, and he would have it come back at night, it would go away during the day. Where am I? V'lo avos shavkale divisu lemefak levei midrasha. Now, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon's wife did not allow him to go to the Beis HaMedrash kechid lo lidchaku rabbanon, so that the rabbis shouldn't give him a hard time, right? I think this is because he wasn't very popular at this point with the people. I think because of being this enforcer. So she didn't want him to go to the Beis HaMedrash. Be'orta Omar Lahu, and every night he would say to the Yisurim, Achai v'reai, my brothers and my friends, Bo, come, Yisurin things. B'tzafra, and then every morning, Omar he would say to them, Zilum pnei Bittul Torah, go away because of Bittul Torah, because I have to learn during the day, so I can't have you interfere with my learning. So they would go away. Yom Echad Shama Devisu. One day his wife heard this, that he was like inviting the Yisurim, and she's like, what the heck, I didn't know about this. He's bringing these things upon it. These are entirely like elective. Our headache and all this money that we're spending on felt and doctors and special fig treatments and foods and medicines is entirely elective. He's choosing this? Are you kidding me? Omrle, she said to him, Atko maisis lui lovich. You are serious. This is like entirely like optional. You're asking for this headache that we are stuck with. Kalisa mamin shabis abba. You're like spending all the money that we have for my father's house. We're spending on your predicament that is entirely elective. Imrida, she got upset. She left him. She went back to her father's house. But then, listen to what happened. There were these 60 sailors who apparently there was some kind of a storm at sea, and they said, God, please help us in the zchis of Rabbi Elazar, Reb Shimon. What does Rashi say? Either they shisin avdei. About 10 lines into the thin lines of Rashi. Lefisha Amar Alei Nachshul Shayom V'Ispalu Linotzu B'Zchuso Shar Belazar V'Nitzolu B'Zchuso U'Chsha'alu Min Hayom Shochu Leidarun. So they prayed to God that they should be saved in the merit of Rabbi Elazar, and then when they came up, they brought him a gift. Right? They were saved from the storm in the Zchus of Rabbi Elazar, so they brought him a gift. Either they shisin avde, they brought for him 60 avodim kinikite shisin arnike, and each one had a wallet, and they brought all this wealth to Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. V'avdu le shisin mine lifda, and they made for him 60 different kinds of these fig foods that were needed. I guess he would eat them every day to get healthy. It sounds like it was a combination of like he would invite them every night, and then every day he would say, okay, go away so I could learn. But I guess he would still kind of, but at night he was sick and he needed those like felt cloths, I guess, and during the daytime he needed to be healed, and I guess that the figs are what healed him. But still, it was still elective. It was he was as we're going to see later. Some people's Yisur, and as we know, many people's Yisur aren't exactly elective that they could just say, come at night and go home during the day, right? If cures were that easy, then that would be nice. Okay, and then he had these 60 kinds of fig things that he needed to heal himself, and he would eat them. One day, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon's wife, who had went away, said to her daughter, Zili Boki Ba'avuch, go and visit your father, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, my Ba'avuch my Ka'avira Idna, and report back what's he up to. Asya Amar La, so she went, and Amar La, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon said to his daughter, I assume it's his daughter too, Zili Amri li'imach, go and tell your mother, Shalanu gadol mishalayim, that ours is greater than theirs. I think the point is like, I don't exactly know how to was it negative? Is it positive? Was he saying, look, come back, don't worry, we have plenty of money? I don't exactly, maybe you can kind of explain it either way, I don't know. But, so let's say, well, basically the point is that these sailors came and brought him all this money, and now he's got all this money, right? So meaning, I don't know if he's saying like, don't worry, you were concerned that we were spending all your father's money. don't worry, we have even more money now than we had before, right? Let's say that. So he read about it. He said about himself that Hoysa Kanio Socher, right? That the Eibishter's Torah is like the boats of merchants, Mimerchak Tavilachma, that they bring bread from a distance, i.e., these sailors came from far and brought all this wealth. Achav v'shasi uvari, he ate, he drank, he got healthy. Nafak levei medrasha, and he finally went to the Beis HaMedrash. I guess his wife still wasn't there. He went to the Beis HaMedrash. And he was away from the Beis HaMedrash so long that there was nobody to check samples of Dam Nida to determine, to paskin if they're tahor and the husbands, his wives can be together or not, or if they're tamei and they cannot be together. And all 60 samples were tahor. Now all the rabbis were very suspicious, and they were saying, I don't understand. All 60, all of them are tahor. There's no suffix about any of them. How could that be? He said to them, look, im kamosihu, if I'm correct, you kulam zcharim, then all of the babies that are born should be male. And if I'm wrong, then there should be a female among the babies. And sure enough, all of them were male, i.e., all of them were rightly pure. Vasiku lehu Elazar al Shmei, and all of the babies were named after Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon. They called the babies Elazar. Tanya, we learned in a brayse. Amar Rebbe, says Rebbe, Kama Pirya Virivya Bitla Rishazo Misrael. Think about how much Pirya Virivya, this evil. There's two ways to. Rashi says it can be a reference to his wife, but I guess I'd prefer to say that it's a reference to the king who basically said, who said that Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon needs to. He appointed him in charge of busting the thieves. And that made him very unpopular, which ultimately led to him being absent from the Beis HaMedrash, which then meant that there was nobody to paskin neither shilas, which meant that men and women couldn't be together. And who knows how much Pirya Virivya was prevented because there was nobody to paskin neither shilas, all because of this Risha. And when he was dying, he said to his wife, so I guess he and his wife were back together at this point. Even at the time of his death, he said, look, I know that the rabbis are upset with me. And they're not going to deal with me properly in my death. I would like for you, my wife, to lay me in my attic, and don't be scared of me. Omer Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani, says Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani, Ishtoya li ime de Reb Yonasan, that Reb Yonasan's mother told me, the Ishtoya la de visu de Reb Elazar ben Shimon, Reb Elazar ben Shimon's wife told her, Loi pachos mitamne soi v'loi tfei me esun v'trein shnin ognise be'ilisa, that it was no less than 18 years and no more than 22 years that Reb Elazar ben Shimon was lying there in the attic after his death. And whenever I would go up to the attic, I would check his hair, and whenever a hair would fall out, there would be blood that would trickle out, meaning he stayed completely fresh, right? Even somewhere between 18 and 22 years later, his body was still fresh, to the extent that if hair would fall out, there would still be fresh blood. One day she saw that there was a worm coming out of his ear. Yuck. And she says, I got concerned, I guess. And Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon appeared to me in a dream. Amarli, and he said to me, don't worry, it's nothing to be concerned about. I'm not deteriorating. What happened was, one time I heard somebody speak negatively about a Talmud Chacham, and I didn't properly protest. And even after Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon's death, if two people needed a judgment, they would stand by the gate of his house, Omer Mar Milse, and each litigant would make their claim, Nofikalame Elise, and then a voice would emanate from the attic where Reb Elazar ben Shimon was lying, V'Omar, and the voice would say, Ish ploni atochayev, Ish ploni atozakai, so-and-so, you are guilty, so-and-so, you are innocent. One day, Reb Elazar ben Shimon's wife was arguing with a neighbor, Amrullah, and the neighbor said to Hey Kevaila, you should be like your husband, Shalonitan Likvura, who was not able to be buried. Quite the insult. So it was at that point that Amir Rabban and the rabbi said, okay, enough is enough. This is definitely not derech eretz. This is definitely not proper. That it's become a thing that people are talking about how Reb Elazar ben Shimon was not able to be buried because there were problems with him, and so they said, okay, we need to bury him. There are those who say Reb Shimon ben Yochai is chazoilu b'chalma. There are those who say that Reb Shimon ben Yochai appeared, I guess, to the rabbis in a dream. Amrlu, and he said to them, look, people, pray the achas liyeshli benechem. I have one. What's a prayer? The gozal echad. I have one bird among you. I have one son, Reb Elazar. V'yatem rotzim lavia etzli. You don't want to bring him to me, to Meron, to Har Meron, Chevre. What's today? Today's what? For me, it's the 21st day of the Omer. Is it Lag BaOmer for you? That would be 12 days. I don't think I'm 12 days ahead. I think I'm like 8 or 9 days ahead. So 21, and no, it's probably going to be like, but it's almost Lag BaOmer. So it's Chazoy Leum B'chalma. So Amalu prayed Achaz Yesh Benechem B'yatem B'rotzim Lavia Esa. You don't want to bring to me to Har Meron. So Ozlu Rabbanon Le'asuke Bey. So the rabbi said, okay, it's time. We need to bury Reb Elazar ben Shimon. Le'shavku b'nei Achbaria. And Chevre, this is amazing. Anybody who's going to Har Meron this year for Lag BaOmer, so this is an amazing story. Your mom is going to the kever of Reb Shimon and Reb Elazar ben Shimon. That's exactly what we're talking about. When Reb Elazar ben Shimon was buried there. And the people in Achbaria didn't allow them to bury Reb Elazar ben Shimon because it was a town, I guess, nearby Reb Elazar ben Shimon. And the Cholshnei Da'avanayim Reb Elazar ben Shimon, and during that entire time, the Reb Elazar ben Shimon was there in his attic. Be'ilisa loisolik chayra lemasayu. There was no rabid wild animals that entered into their town, causing a ramp, what's it called? Causing, what's the word I'm thinking of? Making a ruckus, causing something messy, whatever. Causing, what's the word there? Causing something. Okay, causing something. So chaya. Fine. Okay, as long as Reb Elazar ben Shimon was lying there in his attic, there was no wild animals that came into their town, so they didn't want to bury Reb Elazar ben Shimon because they wanted that protection to remain. Yom Echad, Ma'ile Yom Kippur Ava. One day was Erev Yom Kippur. Havutride, the people of Achbaria were busy with Yom Kippur preparations. Shadru Abban Livnei Beiri. So the rabbi sent to the people of Beiri, and they took his bed, I guess, that he was on. To you, and they took Reb Elazar ben Shimon to the cave of Reb Shimon ben Yochai on Har Meron. Ashkichu le'achno dehadrilo. And when they got to Har Meron, to the cave of Reb Shimon ben Yochai, how do you say cave in Hebrew? A me'ora. To the me'ora of Reb Shimon. There you go. There was a snake that was going in circles by, I guess, the entrance to the cave. Amrullah, and they said to the snake, Achna, snake, pischi pich, open your mouth. because like its mouth was like on its tail or something. V'yikanes ben etzel aviv, and let a son go to be with his father, to be buried with his father, Reb Shimon. Pasachlu, and the snake allowed them entry. Shalach Rebbe ledaber. Okay, so now Shalach Rebbe ledaber b'ishto. So now that Reb Elazar Reb Shimon was buried, so Rebbe sent to Reb Elazar Reb Shimon's wife, like, maybe you're interested in marrying me. Shal Chalei, and she sent back to Rebbe, no. Klisha nishtamish bo kodesh, a vessel, me, that was used for holiness, ishtamish bo chol, should be used for the profane. With all due respect, Rebbe, you know Reb Elazar Reb Shimon. Taman Amorin, in Eretz Yisrael, they say ba'asur demori beis atola zaynei, that in the place where the master of the house kept his weapons, kulba re'iyah kulsei tola, the shepherd hangs his backpack. That's what they would say in Israel. Shalach la, so Rebbe sent back to Reb Elazar Reb Shimon's almana. Nihid b'Torah gadol mimeni, fine, I concede Reb Elazar Reb Shimon was greater than me in learning. Aval b'maisim tovim mi gadol mimeni, was he greater than me in maisim tovim? Shal chalei, she sent back to Rebbe, look, the truth is I didn't know that b'Torah miya gadol mimcha lo yodaina. I didn't know that he was better than that he was greater than you in Torah. For all I knew, you were greater than him. But I'll tell you this. But okay, if you say he was greater than you, okay, I guess he was greater than you. But I'll tell you this: b'maisim tovim yodaina. Okay, but b'maisim tovim yodaina. But I do happen to know that he was greater than you when it came to maisim tovim. Da kabel ole yisurei, because he accepted upon himself these afflictions, and I guess that's an indication that he was greater than you in maisim tovim. Okay. Bater Maihi, tell me more about Reb Elazar Reb Shimon being greater than Rebbe in Limud HaTorah. Dichi havu yazve Rabbono, dichi havu yazve Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, Reb Yeshua ben Korcha, because when Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, who was Rebbe's father, and Reb Yeshua ben Korcha would be sitting amongst the other rabbis, asafsali, on the benches, yazve kamai Reb Elazar Reb Shimon v'Rebbe ha'ara. So Elazar and Reb Shimon and Rebbe would sit on the ground in front of them. They would, the older rabbis, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, Reb Yeshua ben Korcha would sit on the chairs. They would sit on the ground. Elazar, Reb Shimon, and Rebbe would sit on the ground. Makshu mefarku, and I think Rebbe and Elazar, Reb Shimon would ask questions. They would offer answers. Okay. Amrei. And then, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel and Reb Yeshua ben Korcha, they said, or I guess the rabbis who were sitting on the benches, they said, Memei and Anushosam, we are drinking their waters. We're drinking the water of these kids, of Reb Elazar, Reb Shimon, of Rebbe. Ve'em yoshvim al gabe karka, and yet they're sitting on the ground. Avdulu safsale askinu. So they made benches for Reb Elazar Reb Shimon and for Rebbe as well, and now they were sitting on the benches. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, but then Reb Shimon ben Gamliel said, "Wait, I'm not okay with my son Rebbe sitting on one of the benches. I have one bird among you, and you want to make him lost from me." Right, sitting on the benches like this, he's going to get an evil eye. He's going to get an ayin hara, and he's going to have some trouble. I don't want you to bring any ayin haras to my yingul. So, achtu Rebbe. So they said, "Okay, Rebbe, sit back down on the floor." Amar loin Rabbi Yeshua ben Korcha, but then Rabbi Yeshua ben Korcha said to the rabbis there, "Misheish lo av yichya u'mishein lo av yamus." One second, if we're concerned about an ayin hara. So what? The ayin hara, only somebody who has a father needs to be concerned about an ayin hara, right? Or we're going to protect from the ayin hara, but somebody who doesn't have a father, we're just going to allow him to be harmed by the ayin hara, right? Obviously, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel was saying, I don't want Rebbe on the floor because he's going to get an ayin hara. So I don't want Rebbe on a bench because he's going to get an ayin hara. So they took him off the bench. In the meantime, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon was still on the bench. They said, wait, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon is still going to get an Ein Hara. His father is already gestorben, but that doesn't mean that, he still needs protection from the Ein Hara, so they put him on the floor. Achtu Nami, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, so they also put him back on the floor so that nobody should get an Ein Hara. Cholash Daite, but Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, he felt bad. They were putting him back on the floor. Omri says, Kachashvisu le kavasi. They consider Rebbe to be on the same level as me. I'm on a greater level than him. Arahu yoimusu. Until that day, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon played it nice. Until that day, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon was very patient with Rebbe. Ki hava omar Rebbe milsa hav misayeh le Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. If Rebbe would speak up and say epis in the Beis HaMedrash, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon would be nice. He would help him out. He would support him. But mikan ve'elach, but from that point on, when he felt that he was being treated the same as Rebbe and he didn't like it, ki hava omar Rebbe yesh li la'ashiv. Whenever Rebbe would say, "Oh, I have a question," omar le Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, omar le Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. I know. You're about to ask this question. Zoi tshuvascha, and the following is the answer to your question. Hashtag kaftanu tshuvas chavilas she'ein boen mamish. Right? You keep on asking questions that really, you're asking questions that don't really have any significance to them. I know what you're going to ask. Here's what you're going to ask, and here's the answer. Right? You're not really asking good questions. Cholash daite the Rebbe. Now Rebbe felt bad. Also, Amle Lavur. So Rebbe told his father, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, what's going on? Amar le, and Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, Beni, my son, al yera lecha, don't feel bad. Shu Ari ben Ari, after all, he, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, is a lion, the son of a lion. Ve'ato, but you, Ari ben Shul, you're a lion, the son of a mere fox. So he's talking about himself. I'm just a fox, I'm not a lion. V'anu de Amar Rebbe, this is what Rebbe says, Shlosha an v'sonin hein. There are 3 humble people. Ve'eluein, and these are the 3. Abba, my father, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, is one of them. Uvnei Beseira, the sons of Beseira, that we learned about in Masechta Psachim, that they stepped aside, as that Hillel would be the lead rabbi over there. Would be, I think, was it the Nasi or the Av Bezdin? I don't remember. But they be'etzim Nisiusan, right? What does Rashi say? Bnei Beseira, b'Masechta Psachim shayu Nisim u'v'shvil shiro lehilal shayu gadol b'Torah va'Allah etzlo mibavel azvu Nisiusan u'minu Nasi alein. Right? So he made them they made Hillel the Nasi. V'Yonasan ben Shaul and Jonathan the son of Saul. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel hada amarin. So we know that Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel was very humble, based on what he said, that Rabbi Shimon is Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon is a lion, the son of a lion, but you are only a lion, the son of a fox. Right? He didn't view himself. He was very humble. Bnei Beseira, the sons of Beseira, the Amar Mar that we said, Oshivu Barosh Menu L'Nasi Alein. There you go. That they made Hillel the Nasi instead of them. Instead of themselves, they handed it over to Hillel. Yonasan ben Shaul, Jonathan ben Saul, to comment the David that he says to David, "Ve'ata timloch al Yisrael v'ani ele eya l'chol mishneh." You, David, will be the king of Israel, and I will be your sidekick. But Mimai, how do we know that Jonathan ben Saul and Reb Shimon ben Gamliel were so, and the Bnei Beseira were so humble? Dilma Yonasan ben Shaul dechazya digar alma basar Duvid. Maybe the only reason why Jonathan ben Saul was so humble and allowed David to be king is because he didn't really have a choice, right? He didn't have the support of the people. David did. So was he going to be the king over people that would have rebelled against him? You could say he had no choice but to kind of, go with the will of the people, which is to let David be the king. That's what they wanted. Where am I? And you can say the same thing by the Bnei Beseira. What? They're going to stay the Nasi, even though you have Hillel here who clearly is running the show and is greater than them. So also they stepped aside, they kind of had to. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, Vadai Anvison Hava. But Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel was certainly very humble. There was no external reason why he would have had to consider himself only a fox. It's just because he was a humble person. Amar Rebbe says, Rebbe Chaviv and Yisurin. So Rebbe says, well, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon seemed to have positive results with his Yisurin. After all, his wife figured that Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon was greater than Rebbe, because of the Yisurin. So he says, alright, I'll do Yisurin too. So he accepted upon himself 13 years of afflictions. Shis b'tzmirta v'sheva b'tzvarna. For 6 years he was afflicted with smirta, and for 7 years he was afflicted with tzvarna. Apparently, smirta is like maybe like a kidney stone or something, and tzvarna is some kind of mouth infection. And they said, Shiva b'tzmirta v'shis b'tzvarna. Some say it was fakert. 7 years of tzmirta, 6 years of tzvarna. Ahuraire devei Rebbe, the stable fellow of Rebbe's stables, Hava Osir Mishvor Malka, was even wealthier than Shvor Malka, because he would have, he would be able to sell all the manure from the stables, and he made quite a geschäft that way. Rami Kisasa Lechevsa, and when he would give, when it was time to feed the animals, Hava Ozil Kala Betlosa Mile, the sound of the animals would extend 3 mil. It was very loud. So Av Mechavin Dirami Ba'i Shaita Da'al Rebbe the Beis Akise. So because Rebbe was afflicted with these kidney stones, so he would time the feeding time of the animals to coincide with when Rebbe would go to the bathroom, so that they would drown out the sounds of Rebbe in the bathroom, which sounded like it was quite strong, quite loud, quite resonant. And even so, the sound of Rebbe having to go to the bathroom during this period was even greater than the sound of all these animals during feeding time. And even the people out at sea would hear it. And even so, the Yisurin of Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, which were only at night and they went away during the day, were considered greater than those of Rebbe, even though Rebbe suffered a lot more. The Reb Shimon, because Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, his Yisurim came from Ahava, they were Yisurin Shel Ahava, and they also left as Yisurin Shel Ahava, right? He would say, okay, come now, leave now so I could study Torah. There weren't any Mvatal Torah, right? What does it say? Umitorascha lo slamdenu, asher ish, asher tiasenu ka, umitorascha slamdenu. I think that's the pasuk, right? That they have to be, if it's Mevatel Torah, then it's not Yisurin Shel Ahava, but yet Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon's Yisurin went away every day. The Rebbe Aidei Maisa Bo V'Aidei Maisa Alchu, but Rebbe's afflictions came because of an incident, and they left because of an incident. Aidei Maisa Bo, they came on account of an incident. Mahi, what's this incident? Da'u Eglo Da'vu Kamamte Le Lishchito. There was a calf that they were taking to the slaughter. Also, Talia L'Reishe Bechanfe de Rebbe, and the calf came and put his head on Rebbe's cloak. V'Kabochi, and the calf was crying; it didn't want to die. Omar Lehei, and Rebbe says to the calf, Zil, go, get slaughtered. L'chach nutzarta, after all, that's why you were created. Amrei, so they said, up on high, Hoyel V'loi kamerachem, since he's merciless, Leisu alei Yisurin, let's bring upon him afflictions. And because of an incident, they went away. Subsequently, one day, Rebbe's maidservant was sweeping up the house. There were some small weasels, and she was going to sweep them away. And Rebbe says to her, Shavkinu, let them be, leave them alone. It says in the Eibishter's mercies on all of his creations. So, Amri, they said, since he's a compassionate person, we will be compassionate upon him. All of the years of the Yisurin of Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, nobody died before their time. Maybe that's why it was like such a great chesed or something, right? Meaning because he afflicted himself, it brought Yeshua to all the people, that people didn't die before the proper time. Kulu Shnei Yisuri de Rebbe, and all the time of the afflictions of Rebbe, lo itztrich amal lemitra, the world had no need for rain. Because as Rabbi Rav Shila says, Kasha yoyma demitra ki yoyma dedino, that a rainy day is as difficult as a I guess a judgment day or a difficult day. So right, meaning, look, rain is great because we need it. But what would be even greater is if we didn't need rain and it didn't have to rain. Every day is just a sunny day. And the world just on its own is not dusty. There's enough irrigation for the fields, right? Rain is inconvenient. Now, we especially I think in Eretz Yisrael, we have a particular appreciation for rain because we need the rain. I mean, everywhere we need the rain. But I think in Eretz Yisrael, because there's like a rainy season, I think when the rain comes, people get more happy as opposed to like, from what I remember from America, it's just, it can always rain and it's just like, oh, it's another rainy day, but like, whatever. But rain can be inconvenient. So therefore, during the entire days of Rebbe, there was no need for rain. The Amar Meimer says, Meimer, oh, ilav tzorich le'alma, bo rabban rachme olei mavatli leif. Not for the fact that we need rain, the rabbis would pray and be mavatl that there shouldn't be any rain, but we need rain. And even so, even though there was no rain, you would uproot a radish mimishra from the ground, from where it was planted, havakaima beira mal yamaya, and there would be the hole that you pulled it out of would be filled with water. And even though there was mamish no need for rain. You pluck something out of the ground, and where you plucked it from was filled with water. That was the pei dalet of Masechta of BavaMetzia, and I guess a little bit of pei hey as well. That was an awesome daf. I have to remember because I started it yesterday, but in this daf we had the story of Rabbi Yechon and Rish Lakish, super interesting stuff. And then we got back to Rabbi Elazar B'Reb Shimon. We're going to keep on going weiter shtickle with Rabbi Elazar B'Reb Shimon tomorrow, and then we're also going to get to the great Reb Chia. Very, very interesting stuff. Again, we have plenty of more Agadita, Cheveh. Plenty of more Agadita. We got Pei Hey, Pei Vav, and half of Pei Zayin. So we got another few days of Agadita ahead of us. I hope you're enjoying it. Have a good one. Peace out.